This video can fuck right off. I should be in a good mood, but I can't make this video correctly. Normally I would have cut stuff like that out, but fuck it, I'm just going to keep going. Happy Canada Day, unless you're a 51st stater, and then you can fuck right off. The Globe and Mail can fuck right off. People who spread misinformation can fuck right off. And policymakers can fuck right off. Let me start with the Globe and Mail. If you're going to write for the Globe and Mail, don't you feel even the slightest obligation to know what you're talking about before you write the article? The bitter truth is that cheaper housing means a retirement crisis for homeowners. No, the bitter truth is that if this were to even remotely become a thing, we'd have an arson crisis. I've said it before, the replacement value for your house is more than the market value for your house. Why do I say arson crisis? Because of Detroit. That's exactly what happened there. Detroit had a market crisis. People were leaving Detroit. The market value for properties in Detroit went near zero. Actually, they went to zero. And then people clued in that their replacement value was more than their market value. So guess what happened? They had an arson crisis. Shit just mysteriously burned to the ground everywhere. Look, you know this is true, and I don't understand why people even argue this thing. We all live on a sliver along the border. Why? Because the best places to live are near the best places to have commerce, which are near the best places to grow food. Let's not even talk about the land that's sitting over top of valuable resources. Land value ain't going down. On top of that, there's the material costs and labor costs. The material cost of a property now is more than the market price. I keep saying it. It ain't changing. This is absolutely irresponsible. Putting this out there in the public sphere has people thinking that this is even a possibility. It's not. Oh, and I said something like this at a panel discussion last week, and I was reminded that I should say, this is not financial advice. All right, policymakers, why is it that the mafia knows more than policymakers do? No, really, this is the prisoner's dilemma, okay? This is from economic game theory. And the mafia, the mob, knows this better than policymakers. You've heard that snitches get stitches, right? Yeah, so I'll explain this. Prisoner A, prisoner B, if you both keep your mouth shut, 1 year in prison. Keep your mouth shut, do your time. But, as we've seen many times, these mobsters are offered a plea deal, and their accomplices will go to jail for a long time. But these people are self-interested. The police know that, so they offer everyone a plea deal. Everyone takes the plea deal, and then everyone goes to jail for way longer than if they just kept their mouth shut. Our policymakers do this all the time. They think about their own self-interest without seeing the big picture. They've actually legislated that it's part of law. Like if you're a CEO for a company, you have to do what's in the best interest of the company. So you'll cut costs, you'll lay people off, you'll refuse to increase salaries, etc., etc., etc. The problem is everyone does that. And I've said it before, the employees of one company are the customers of another company. So if one company's employees get less pay or they get laid off, other companies are going to suffer. These barriers of interprovincial trade, that's where they come from. Each province was thinking for itself, not for the best interest of the entire country. But if everyone thinks for the best interest of the entire country, it always works out better in the long run. All right, misinformation can fuck right off. I know, we live in a world where the information could be absolutely insane, but still, come on, folks. This is more reason to check your facts. I was sent a video that claimed that the United States was doing something pretty terrible. Let me break it down. By the way, they're not doing this as far as I can tell. There's this thing, where you take political prisoners for a flight, and then while you're over the water, or over mountains, or somewhere where they'll never find the bodies. It happens. Happens more often than you think. Anyway, I was sent a video recently where the claim was that the United States was doing this because 31 migrants were found bound and deceased on the shore. And I found that it's 3 different stories put together to create misinformation. True story part 1. The migrants are being sent to the wrong country. It's actually not a mistake. It's not nefarious either. Where in the world is the U.S. trying to deport third country migrants? Because under UN rules, you can't send a migrant back to a country where their life is in danger. So you have to send them to a safe third country, like Kosovo. So that's part 1. People are seeing these flights go to places that they shouldn't be going to, and they don't know why. Well, that's why. And then they hear parts of stories and they start to put things together like this. At least 31 people are after migrant boat capsizes in the English Channel. Like, that really happened. But then the story is that this wasn't happening here and that all these people were bound together so they couldn't save themselves. That's not true. These people were bound together. Holiday Horror has 5 bodies with shackled hands and feet wash up on beach at tourist hotspot in Mallorca. So Spain, England, totally different things. Similar, but different things. And then that, people tracking airplanes going to strange places. And now you have this rumor. It's going around right now because of the whole DST thing. As I explained yesterday, there's more to it than people realize. This happened a few months ago when Mark Carney came into power and we sold some bonds and it was some great plan by Mark Carney, even though he had nothing to do with it. It's just people take these stories and they make assumptions and they put things together and you end up with rumors. At a time when the truth is strange enough, the last thing we need is misinformation.